Hey everybody, Ben and Karen here, and welcome to Unsolicited Advice. Alright, in this episode of Unsolicited Advice, as you know, we go on Reddit and we find questions the Redditors have. And this question is concerning Pompano rigs. Basically, the guy wants to know about the right equipment and things to use for Pompano rigs. We use these all the time.
And keep in mind, we aren't using them just for Pompano. These catch
you can use them.
all kinds of stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of hard hits. But you will also catch your whiting. And sometimes little redfish will jump on there. Yeah.
But, or big redfish for that matter. Yeah.
And so the target species would be Pompano. Yeah. But, in Texas, they're not as prevalent. So we get a lot of whiting.
And some of them, they call them double drop rigs, or they call them, you can even have a triple drop rig. Yeah. I call them double drop rigs just because of the way I make them. But this guy says he wants to know if the equipment, and I'll read the question just really quickly here. It says, I've never been shore fishing in the Gulf, but this is random stuff I found in my tackle box. And he thought, can I use it to make a few Pompano rigs? He has a 2-ounce weight for the anchor, and you can see in the picture there's just the weights he's using. Now this weight is a egg sinker, so it's not going to work really well for a Pompano rig. This one could work, but we'll talk about that in a minute, what weights that work the best. Would you consider a hook a circle hook? Basically wonder if I go and make Pompano rigs from these, or if I should just buy new stuff. Unfortunately, to answer this question directly, I think you're going to need to buy new stuff. The egg weight is not going to work well.
No, that's only for a single, and that's, if you're going for redfish and really off the jetties or something.
Something like that.
The beach is not heavy enough.
It's not going to be heavy enough. It's going to roll around.
Yeah.
And even that other type of sinker that he has in this picture is not going to work really well. Pyramid sinkers can work, but they are still kind of iffy about whether or not they work.
But that one is too fat to clip on. The top of it is too fat, and then it won't dig in the sand right.
So I'll show you the weights that we use, and they look like this. And we buy them in the stores that are local down at the down on the coast. Even Academy and things like that sell them. But the whole idea of this is you can bend up the bottoms to create kind of an anchor so it digs into the sand.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing. And the weight that we use really is determined on the current and the waves and the wind and all of that kind of determines how much weight.
Generally 2 or 3 ounce.
Yeah, 2 or 3 ounce. Sometimes 4.
Sometimes.
I try not to go over 4.
But that's heavy for.
But that gets really, really heavy to bring in time to time. So that's the weight that I would definitely recommend using. If you're going to make your own Pompano rigs, I buy cheap stuff from Walmart. This is just 25-pound just mono. That I buy from Walmart to make them, and I make them myself, and that works just fine. The hook that I recommend is either a 1/0 or a 2/0 Kahle hook. I find much better, and I can see that I find much better hookup ratio with the Kahle hooks than I do circle hooks. Now, if you're fishing for sharks specifically, you do need to use circle hooks. So do remember that.
The angle of that Kahle hook very similar to when you buy a Pompano rig.
Yeah. That's a pre-made Pompano rig there, and you can buy them.
It's hard to see from the light, but the angle of that hook, you can kind of see is that same
Kahle angle.
Yeah,
that you want.
And you can buy them. They're only a couple of bucks. They're not really that expensive. Although I think if you just make them yourself, I think it's cheaper.
Yeah, because this line here is only $2,
and you'll get thousands of them out of that. And then you're going to need a swivel, just a barrel swivel, and then this is a swivel with a snap. And the snap goes on the bottom in order to change out your weights. And I'll do a video here in the future on how I make the Pompano rigs. I'm not going to go through that in this, but this is just the things that you would need, specifically to answer this question, the things that you would actually need to make the Pompano rig. But the homemade Pompano rigs that I make, they end up looking like this, and I use floats. So there's the float on the one hook, and there's a float on the second hook, and then you can see the snap for the weight is there. And then the swivel at the top to hook into your main line is there. And I'll make a video here in the future about how I make these rigs. And so when it's sitting, it's going to look like this. It's going to be the bottom with the rig all the way up to the top with the swivel. And so we home make these. But you're going to need those type of things. So just to kind of quickly recap, I would recommend some sort of anchor sinker.
Spider weight,
whatever. I don't know the technical name for these, but I would definitely recommend those. You're going to need swivels. You're going to need a snap. Now, you don't have to have a snap. You can tie directly on, but I just find it's easier to switch out weights if you need to. And I would definitely recommend your Kahle hooks. I think those are better. And some cheap, inexpensive monofilament line.
And if you don't want to buy all that, $2 for one pack.
Yeah, normally it's about
once you lose
$2
one, you
for
might
a
want to
pack.
buy a couple of them
It does.
because you might lose one or two.
Yeah, you will. You'll end up losing a couple, but that's part of fishing is you will lose tackle. So make sure you buy some extra stuff that'll be out there. And I'll make a video coming up here on how I home make these pompano rigs. They are easy to make. They only take a couple of minutes to make if you learn a couple of simple knots. So they're not very hard to make, but I think they find it very easy. And it also allows you to be able to customize them depending on how far you want the hooks apart and things like that. So hopefully that helps and answers a little bit of the question. And if you have questions about pompano rigs or other things, make sure you leave it in the comment section below. We'll try not to ignore you.
And until next time,
May you always catch your limit.